Hello and welcome back to episode 8 of Playtime with Rufus, a spiritual and metaphysical podcast unlike any other. My name is Mario and I'm so glad you've joined us again. After exploring the foundations of the physical layer in our previous episode, we now continue our deep dive into the mysteries of the human body and the fascinating relationship between beliefs and biology. In this conversation, Rufus, who, as always, is channeled through my dear and incredibly gifted friend Émilie, reveals what really happens when the body becomes sick, and how personal and collective beliefs around topics like illness and vaccination have been shaping not only our private but also our shared experience. For example, during the global events that took place from 2020 to 2023. Our higher dimensional friend challenges common ideas about disease and reveals what it truly is, the body's intelligent response to energetic distortion. We explore how fear and the search for protection can actually reinforce imbalance, while trust in the body's wisdom can lead to true healing. In this context, we also talk about the importance of owning your health choices and taking responsibility for them, an aspect that is not always easy or comfortable for human avatars. The conversation then expands into the realm of nourishment and how the physical food we choose affects our bodies. Again, Rufus emphasizes that there is no single truth or universal rule that applies to everyone. The key is to consume what genuinely resonates with you and your frequency and supports your well-being. In doing so, we align not through restriction or fear, but through conscious self-trust. Ultimately, this episode offers a mind-expanding and yet highly practical perspective on health, disease, healing, and the mechanisms of the human avatar's physical layer. Rufus reminds us that our body is not just a vessel, but an active partner on our earthian journey. One that constantly communicates, mirrors, and recalibrates, thereby helping us realign with our natural state of health and well-being. If you'd like to support us, remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe so that these conversations can reach as many people as possible. All of this is much appreciated. And now, buckle up and enjoy the ride. This is episode 8 of Playtime with Rufus, where higher wisdom meets human curiosity. I would like to ask Rufus now to integrate themselves into the body so we can speak to each other again. May I speak to
Yeah,
Rufus?
Mario.
Welcome.
Well, thank you.
You are probably aware that um, Emily's body is not in optimal physical balance. Is this something we need to address at this point?
No, this should not bother us. This is just a simple balancing issues. It's not altering her frequency, so we are okay to come and discuss with you.
All right. I was wondering if there is maybe something you can do to alleviate discomfort.
We could help to put at ease. Alleviate will be inappropriate, but we could actually help soothing it. Will this be okay?
Yes, that would be wonderful.
This is what we will do then.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Let us know if we can continue speaking in the meantime.
Yes, you can absolutely continue speaking, Mario. There is no issue with that.
Okay, wonderful. Since we are still talking about the physical layer,
Yes.
this might be a good opportunity to shed light on something like this, what Emily is going through right now. Can you
Uh,
explain the purpose of such an experience?
Yes, absolutely. Well, in her case, this is a no-brainer. In her case, it's just a consequence of her actions. It's been colder lately here, and she's been disregarding on how she goes out. So, if you have a human body that is dressed the same way inside and outside, when there's a big temperature shift, obviously the body is going to take some hint. In Emily's case, this is exactly what happened. This is not tied up whatsoever with her little one. It is just tied up with her and her choices that she made going out without a jacket or going out exactly the same way she is dressed inside. So you see choices, actions, consequences. This is exactly an example of that. If she would have been more careful or more mindful of being dressed appropriately when she is inside and or outside, this will not probably be happening right now. Let's say we could develop that by saying that the physical body needs to be somehow conserved in a certain temperature range in order to feel good and work properly, right? So this is why you have what we call clothes that will envelop your actual envelope. See, an envelope within an envelope, but basically, those clauses are designed by humans in order to make sure that their envelope or vehicle or physical body, as you call it, will stay intact and will move, being inhabited in a proper range of temperature that will be appropriate for it to function correctly. So, when it is cold, like it is right now, when you are inside and the temperature is higher than outside, then you need to be dressed accordingly so you are not too hot. But when you are stepping outside and you're moving your vehicle, which is your physical body, out with you, then you will need to adjust because if you have a temperature delta that is, let's say, about 10 or 15 Celsius degrees, then it will be most likely that you need to adjust because the temperature you're going to put your body in will be different. Therefore, you will operate some changes on your vehicle. And in order to make sure that you're preventing malfunction to happen like it is happening now, you need to adjust the way you're dressing. It's very simple.
Mhm. So in this case, there is no underlying psychological or emotional or
No. In this case, the only factor that will play also into this predicament will be the fact that Emily is a little on the tired side, like energy wise, or let's say physicality is a little wear off. And therefore, this is why, and we're going to emphasize this, she needs to take care of her vehicle, and we're talking about the physical body. If a human being is feeling tired and a human being is feeling low or is feeling like this is more vulnerable for their physicality, let's say a period of time, then the avatar inhabiting the body needs to be very mindful and very gentle with the vehicle and make sure to protect it at all time. Because when you are feeling fatigue or when you are not resting well or where you are feeling a little on the wear off side, you need to make sure that your body is well taken care of. Because this is one of the first symptoms that is showing you that something is up energetically and that something is up with you. And you need to listen. Fatigue is a very good trigger point that will show you what you call the red flag, saying, uh-oh, something is happening. The body needs to be taken care of. The body needs to rest. The body needs some love. The body needs some heat. The body needs something that you are not giving it right now. And therefore, fatigue comes. So when a human being is in that state, it is more open to anything that will come and jeopardize their wellness, if we may say. But in this case, if you add this fatigue that has been ignored by the host, and you also add the fact that the host is not using the vehicle appropriately because it's not covering up enough or uncovering up. There is no, like we explained before, changes between the inside and outside of how the body is stressed, then combined result is pretty much what is happening to Emily right now.
Okay. Thank you so much for explaining this.
Yes, of course.
Since we're talking about symptoms of that kind, right now we're in winter, which for many people is the time of catching the flu in quotation marks and creating a cold and all of these different symptoms. Could you explain this?
Yes, we could. Well, one factor is definitely the fact that the way of living doesn't change in winter for you guys. If you look at nature, the days are shorter when it's winter. You see nights quite often compared to in the summer, for instance. You could see also animals hibernating, they are sleeping, they're resting. You could see trees losing their leaf and resting as well. Stuff like that should give you a hint that in winter, basically, you're supposed to, let's say, stay in more, rest more, take care of yourself inside, not necessarily going out of your day and running back and forth, doing everything you do as usual. But because the life you're living doesn't take this in consideration, in winter, your rhythm doesn't really change, does it?
Mhm. Right.
Yes. When it should adjust. If you would live in a, let's say, a perfect situation that would prevent you from catching a lot of flu at this season, then you will have less amount of work. You will be able to come home earlier. You will be able to sleep earlier. You will be able to rest. You will be able to basically do exactly what the other living being are doing on your planet. But because you as a human have a societal situation, have work, have different functions on this planet, then you are not respecting this aspect of yourself the way you should. And therefore, you'll be more exposed and more vulnerable to catch some imbalance and some, let's say, viruses or bacteria going on, which is perfectly normal because you are not taking care of your body in a way it needs to be taken care of. Does that make sense to you?
It,
Yes.
yes.
And this is pretty easy to see. Just watch outside, or you just pay attention to other living species, and you will see what they're doing in winter, correct?
Right.
Yeah. But you as a human are not. Nothing changes. The society has been built like seasons don't matter, but they do. This is
Mm-hmm.
part also of the issue when, let's say, an avatar gets so involved in the game that they don't even recognize that they're supposed to play the game partnering with other species in this game and respecting the cycles, not only their own cycles, but their surrounding cycles as well, which is clearly not happening in your society right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Can we focus in on the term patching something? You used it just before as
Yeah.
well, and it's like a common term. I remember that Seth, Jane Roberts Seth,
We're
he,
aware of them.
right, he explained that basically you have all the different initiators for diseases in your physical system and you activate them basically when you need them to.
Yeah.
So this would kind of defy that idea that we have of catching something from the outside world. Can you speak about this from your perspective?
Yes. Well, you are catching somehow because basically what you carry inside is recognizing something similar on the outside. Let's say, if in terms of frequency, if you have the body fully equipped of all the different viruses, of all the different bacteria that you can actually expose yourself to and that you can actually develop or reduce, depending on the time or the moment that you're playing the game. Basically, if you are already carrying them, when they are presented to you, you recognize them more and you're just mirroring. So you're catching them in the sense that you are attracting them more when this part of you is actually coming out to the surface a little bit more. Does that make sense to you? what you call law of attraction works on every aspect of yourself, including those cellular bacteria, viruses aspect of you. At one point, catching is still correct in our mind because you are indeed catching, but you're catching what you are putting out. So you're choosing somehow to exalt or to activate a little more this aspect of yourself. And therefore, you're going to catch the vibrational match for this and embody it at the moment you're having the cold or the flu or however you want to call this. And this is going to serve you normally because it should be a hint that you are not protecting your vehicle correctly. It should be a hint that because you are bringing this aspect of you more and you're catching the reflection of it more, this should tell you that there is somehow an imbalance in your functional system, that somehow it's not like the usual, and an aspect of you is sending you a message that you should listen and be mindful of and maybe try to resolve. In Emily's case, we're going to let her cough for a bit. There you go. In Emily's case, this is exactly what's happening. It's a signal. Yes, she's carrying this inside of her, but normally it's kind of dormant, or at least it's not to the point that it's expressing itself. But because she was not paying attention of the signal that was sent to her, the warnings that were sent to her, meaning the fatigue, tired, lack of energy, pale in the skin, maybe dryness, stuff like that, Then, because of her not paying attention, or at least even if she was acknowledging it, not acting on it, not taking actions, not taking responsibilities to change it, then next thing you know, the part of her that is actually, like you were mentioning, dormant or inside her code comes and express itself in order to attract the exact mirror of it, which is going to be a cold or a flu, and express it in a stronger way that maybe she could understand, seek help, take action in order to resolve.
Right. So the difference to someone, let's say, living in the same household who also carries the same dormant potential for disease and is also exposed to the same external partner, so to speak, floating through the air, is not having this experience because they might not be in need of balancing something out.
Yes, because they might not be in the same let's say physical predicament as Emily is. So let's say if you have a couple or if you have an entire family that will, like you said, live in the exact same area, same conditions, same everything, eat the same food, breathe the same air, living with the same temperature, everything is exactly matching, right? But some of them are going to get sick and some of them are not. Why? Because probably the one that are getting sick had some signals before that they clearly ignored and they didn't take actions to tackle them or to care for them or to even just listen to them. And they would, like you said, catch or mirror this aspect of them in order to make the signal stronger because they will have no more option but rest in that situation and stay in and really, embrace the action that needed to be taken in the first place. Compared to the other member of this family that will not feel tired, that will not feel like they need to rest, that will feel perfectly fine, and therefore, they would not have to have a signal stronger to warn them about something not being taken care of in their vehicle or in the spirit or in their mind or however layer you want to tackle it. But see, this will be the difference. Same predicament, different vehicle, different avatar, different situation of being, therefore, different need to match or to attract stuff that will mirror them. This is why you can have one sick person and the other could be perfectly healthy living in the same household. Even if what they are putting out and attracting is qualified as viral. Because normally, if it's viral, you're most likely to catch it. But look at what happened with what you call COVID. Not everybody catch it. Within the same household, some people caught it, some did not. This is exactly the same idea. You are not playing this game exactly the same way. You don't have the same vehicle either. You don't have the same need. You don't have the same energy driving you. You don't have the same emotions affecting you. You're completely different. You're all connected for sure, but you are completely individual in your playtime, in your way of playing the game. Therefore, even if you are in the same exact location, surrounding, everything is matching, the fact that you are two different avatars, two different soul inhabiting this avatar, you will respond to the game differently, even with the exact same condition given to you. So this works for a lot of things, actually. Emotion being thrown at you that you will respond differently. It works for, like you say, catching the flu, you will respond differently. It also works for treatment because if somebody is catching a cold or a flu or whatsoever, seek help, go to what you call a doctor, get what you call a treatment, and try to alter chemically their balance. Some will respond less or more. It will really depend on how they are coded and wired. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yes. So you could have the exact set of play. Let's say you can set the game exactly the same way, but because the two players will never be exactly the same, then you will automatically create different adventures. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yes. Okay, good.
You just mentioned the aspect of treatment.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about what we call pre-treatment, for example, a vaccination? This
Yes.
is a very popular strategy that people use in order to prevent getting sick. What
Yes.
can you say about this strategy from your perspective?
What do you do when you vaccine somebody? You inject part
yes.
of, yes. So basically, you are giving the body or you're reinforcing that particular set of code, right? You're injecting because you're thinking, okay, I'm going to give the body this, it's going to recognize it. So therefore, there's going to be no need to emphasize it and to attract it more because the dosage is going to be already there and already sufficient. So that's the idea behind it. The vaccination is putting in the code or the gene or whatever, the structure of the body in order for it to already have it and not having to seek it out because the dosage should be enough. Doing this has pros and cons, like everything has in your playtime. But the pros will be it could be efficient, of course, because it could work. It could give your vessel the right amount of this particular specific code so the vessel doesn't have to seek out and attract it and it's fine with it. But the problem also is by giving this code, you somehow create an imbalance. That was not the originating balance of your system, right? Because you're emphasizing more of something that originally you didn't come with. Does that make sense?
It does.
So creating this imbalance, you might somehow protect your body from matching this because you already have a good amount of this, but you might also create your body craving or needing to match with other stuff because now they are not balanced the way they're supposed to be and they might be lacking or they might be not signaling strong enough when they need to or yada yada yada. So basically you are altering chemically a vessel that was tailor-made for you, and what it does is you're shifting its function, you're shifting its code, you're altering the design somehow. So it could be good, as you're saying, as your idea of good and bad. It could be good and efficient, but it could also have repercussion and create some imbalance and some issues that you are not trying to treat that you now started by switching the, how we can call that, the coding of your body. We're looking for another word, but we hope you understand when we say coding. The coding of your body, the coding of your vessel is different. It's altered. It's not left as it was originally designed. Does that make sense to you?
It does. Yes.
Yes.
What would define whether this is a good strategy for someone for a certain case or not?
The set of circumstances that the body is in. You see, Your body is made about the same in terms of extremities. You have four, sometimes those are altered as well. But let's say, like in general, overall, the vessel is kind of designed about the same, but its coding, the way it's supposed to function inside, the way it's supposed to receive information, digest them, integrate them, and put them back out is different. It's unique to every avatar. And so this will be affecting the way you are receiving this new information, because basically when you put a vaccine into somebody, you're given a new set of information, right? The avatar needs to integrate it, digest it, interpret it, however you want to call it, and then put it back out. So since not every avatar is the same, meaning like every avatar is individual, specific to its host, if we may say, and also the way this avatar is living the game. Remember the food he takes, and we're not talking about just this, but all the information he absorbed, the environment he is in, everything that is basically counting and affecting, which we could qualify as everything that is in your playtime, because everything that is indeed affecting your avatar. So everything that is in your playtime will affect you. Every emotions that the avatar is having will affect the avatar. So when you are giving some player a set of information, a new set of information, you are supposedly well aware that this cannot be received the same way by none of those. Every avatar will receive and interpret this new set of information its own way. Some could be very similar. Some avatar will be, let's say, having some similar state at the moment they're taking it, but no avatar will receive a set of information the same way. It's just not possible. It hasn't been designed this way. So this is why you're responding the way you're responding, which is your own way, your individual way of responding to what's been given to you. Whether it's a vaccine or whether it's a situation, it's the same way of treating the information. It's very individual. So when it comes to vaccine, then it is hard to say, because vaccine has been made to treat the masses, if we may say. And when the vaccine is made, it's been expecting of this vaccine to work the same on every individual. But this idea to start with is, how can we say that? It's a mistake, if we could say that. It's not accurate. If it's being taken as, well, it should affect within this range most of the avatar taking it, this is more accurate. But if it's made in order to treat everybody and have the exact same results, then the person doing this is a fool, because it cannot happen in your playtime. It will be for sure differently for each and every person. So this is also what's very hard with your medical system, because you're trying to treat and you're trying to make general rules and general solutions for individual players. So you could and you can, and it's been done and proven somehow that it works as a general. But you will alter every time you give a new set of information, you will alter the player. And you need to be prepared, and you need to be okay with the fact that the player gets to respond to it the way they want. So they could actually take the vaccine, respond very well to it, decided that it works for them, it works with their codes, and no problem, it's efficient. Or you can have a player that is going to take it, not respond well to it at all, because its avatar will be coded a completely different way. It will be wired a completely different way. And what has been expected of this method that would give a new set of information will not be received the way it's been expected. The avatar will not behave the way it will be expected. And therefore, you create complication, you create what we call side effects, you create a new set of issues, because you're basically altering the avatar.
Right. You mentioned COVID.
Yes.
And I believe this could be a good example
Yeah.
of what you are explaining right now. Can you shed more light on that event and how what you just explained applied to it.
Yes. Well, COVID just, like we explained, it's a new given information that has been, let's say, put out there, right? But when something is put out there, is put by someone or some energy or some forces, is definitely not coming by itself when it was not meant to be there. So something is put out there. A vaccine is developed for this thingy. Thinking is gonna treat it with good or bad intention. This doesn't even matter. But what happened is, first of all, when you do a vaccine, usually when you do a new set of information, is because you experimented before. You experimented, you tried it, and you kind of recorded the response. You look at how most of the avatar that's been taking the information are dealing with it, and then you're coming to a conclusion that will give you, okay, this is definitely not a good solution because most of the avatar are rejecting it, or this could be a solution, even if it's not, tailor-made. At least it can give a good amount of the avatar the help they need, right? But you need distance when you do that. You need to study those reactions. You need to study those responses from your fellow avatar. In this case, there was no, as you can call it, time to distance yourself and to see how it responded. But there was for sure a knowledge on what we're going to give you is going to alter your avatar because, like we mentioned before, it's a new set of information and therefore it's going to code differently. Now, was it the purpose of coding differently to start with? Was it the purpose of introducing a new set of information to alter the body in purpose? Was it part of an agenda? Those are different questions. But the way it's been done is something was happening, some solution needed to be applied. We would say that according to your timeline, there were not distance enough to make sure that the solution will serve most of the avatar, and still those solutions were given. But the context of it, this is what is really interesting in the COVID event, if we may say. The context of it was pretty amazing to watch because this was able to somehow install an emotion in people, in avatars, that was globally embraced and that would divide clearly the avatars in two parts. We could say three, but we're going to say two because this one needed an action that was like either you take it or you don't. So we're going to say two parts. So the emotions that was installed is fear of something that is going to happen to you, that is going to affect your vessel, something that is going to make you, not feel good as you are wanting to feel, not feel joyful, but something that was painted or that was described or that was served and given to you with the underlining of this is to be feared, watched out. This is something that should scare you because it will affect your body. And knowing this is the crazy part that is so amazing to us. A solution was given, a solution that was doing exactly the same. I mean, this is going to alter your body. This is going to affect you. But that was presented as an good. And therefore, once the fear was installed and the avatars buying into the fact that this will be something disruptive and not good, the solution that was brought, that was presented as something effective, something healing, something good, was then received by some of the avatar. Now, the other part of the avatar that's been presented with exactly the same set of information, but that would take the first information not as an not good, not as an disruptive, not as an problematic, but just as an, oh, okay, it's out there. Well, I'm trying not to catch it. I'm trying not to let my avatar be coded by it. I'm going to try to protect my avatar and my vessel and make sure that I don't get that new set of information because I'm refusing it. Because you're refusing it, you're also refusing the fact that it's been presented as bad. Therefore, you're not looking for a solution. You're not looking to receive and accept a good solution to a bad situation because you did not recognize the bad situation to start with. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. So this was actually the most amazing scenario to watch because it clearly showed how emotions and how belief system and how all the different layers that accompany your physical body will be playing in the reception of information, because this is really what happened. Nothing else. It's either you're accepting that what is being served is bad because an avatar told you is bad. Either you are not accepting it as bad. You're just accepting it as, okay, well, it's different, but I don't know if it's good or bad. And therefore, I don't need a solution. But if I do know it's bad and I'm fearful and I don't want it to affect my code, yes, please give me the solution.
Mhm.
But now guess what? Because there is no distance, there is no experiments, and there is no global result possible because everybody is individual. Now the solution that was supposed to be working, that has now coded the different vessels, for some of the vessels and some of the avatar that will see that solution as good, they are not experiencing as bad. This is why we like to say that good and bad are never accurate, because it would clearly depend on the circumstances and the predicament you're in and the emotions you're feeling at the moment this information has been given to you. Something good now could be bad in 2 seconds. Something you consider bad now could be good in 2 seconds. This is why we're trying to emphasize that the idea of good and bad is only true at the very instant you are receiving the information, but it cannot be true as in factual truth. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yes. Did we answer the COVID question right? Or do
Well,
you want to elaborate?
yes. Please elaborate specifically regarding the coding that was introduced into the physical bodies with the vaccine.
Well, the coding is pretty much the same as other vaccine, except this one, let's say, is fairly strong. But it's the same. Is you're introducing a set of information. Therefore, you rewire the vessel. Therefore, you recode the vessel. And because, remember, all the different layers playing at the same time are very tied within each other, you're not only coding the physicality of the avatar, you're also coding everything else. You're coding emotionally. You're coding what they are able to grasp mentally. You're coding their belief system. You're coding their spirituality. You're coding their etherical body. You're coding every body that will be attached to the physical body now, because it's like Russian dolls. Remember, you're altering one part, then it will have repercussion on other parts. You're altering the bigger parts, then you will have to come down to the smaller parts to understand the signal. But you're altering the smaller parts, then somehow it's way easier to go because the smaller parts is inside the big one. So, it escalates faster and easier.
Right.
So once you introduce that code, that will, let's say, genetically modified somehow, because you will have now a way to process information that will be altered. So everything from now on, once you take this vaccine, that will be presented to you, everything will be received in a way that you were unable to receive before you took that shot. It will be received completely differently, and it will work differently for each person. It will weaken some aspect of your physicality that was maybe strong. It will emphasize and make stronger some aspect that was maybe weak, because remember, every vessel is made, tailor-made for the soul to come in. So it works differently to start with. Therefore, it will respond differently. So we will not be able to mention how every billions of you are going to respond to this. But we could clearly say that this set of information introduced will create an imbalance that was not at all designed for the player. Therefore, it would also put the player at risk somehow if they are not being careful and very much protective of their own self and mindful of their new way of reacting to things, especially if you took the vaccine as an older avatar. Because you're so used to operate a certain way, and now this has been changed, but you're still thinking and living and behaving on the old you, right? Thinking that you're still going to respond this way. But because you've been altered, you're not going to respond that way. So all your habits, all your behaviors that were actually perfectly fine for you are now going to need to change because you changed.
Right. Can you give an example of what that could look like?
Yes, of course. So let's talk about your immune system, right? And let's picture your immune system as armor, because this is going to be very graphic. So you have your armor, right? Your armor is tailor-made for you. So you have a helmet, you have the chest piece, you have the, the shoulder piece. You have an armor that is tailor-made for you. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's just perfect for you, right? This is your immune system, armor. Boom. You take a new set of information that you're applying to your avatar, your vessel. And now this set of information is going to either shrink your helmet. So now it's going to be hard to put on, or if you have it on, it's going to be hard to take off. It's going to maybe erode your armor on certain area. It's going to maybe make your, let's say, torso piece bigger and stronger. Is going to make your shoulder piece smaller. Is going to alter somehow your armor. So now, if you're presenting in life this altered armor, that means you're also presenting yourself as, oh, I'm more vulnerable on the part that has eroded, or I'm stronger on my chest, or I'm more vulnerable because I can no longer put on my helmet. So you're creating aspect of yourself that will, remember the start of our conversation, catch or send information out and receive the mirroring of it in a different way that you're used to. And because your avatar is not aware of it, it would pretty much create conditions that will affect your health physically and probably mentally and emotionally. Those three are very tied up, because you will now be catching information reflecting your new balance, but you're not aware to start with of your new balance. So you cannot protect yourself where you're lacking and, chill out where you're emphasized. So let's say, for example, if one person took the shot, got changed, the code changed, and now this shot disrupt the immune system, and they are more likely to have what we could call weaker respiratory system, right? They will be more subject to have their respiratory system clogged, or be sensitive to what's in the air, be sensitive to the quality of the air, or stuff like that. Then you will end up having an avatar that for some reason, out of the blue moon, is having a hard time breathing when it's too cold, too hot, when it's making too much effort, when it's going into areas that doesn't have clear air, when there are a lot of viruses or bacteria out there that he's going to want to mirror now, because he is feeling like it's matching his new code and bring it on. So you see, it would alter this aspect of himself more. And from an outside point of view, it could be translated at, oh, the shots give him respiratory issues. But it's well, clearly it's kind of that. But really, the shot altered his immune system in a way that it weakened this aspect of the immune system. It might have made some other parts stronger, but this will not be noticeable because they will not have a signal or a physical response that will be as strong as an issue. Remember, humans work well with challenges. This is what is actually calling up on their creativity. This is what is triggering them. This is what is showing them that something is going on. When an issue, an obstacle, or something that is putting them out of ease, this ease are not good within their physicality, that they will notice the signal most of the time. Because when it's joyful, when it's enjoyable, they're just happy with it. But when something is not going right, then it's very easy to see and to know we're being poked with. Whether the system is being reinforced, it would not necessarily be noticed. If an avatar is in tune with themselves and in perfect knowledge of how they function, they'll probably notice even where the areas has been transformed that is now stronger. But most of the avatars are not in tune that much with their own body, and so they will not notice this. But they will notice where they are lacking now, because they will develop some disease and sickness that they will not have before the shot. And now they will say, oh, the shot gave me this kind of disease. Not completely true. The shot transform your code and weaken this aspect of you that is now receiving information and treating them in very different ways that will impact this area of yourself, and you will feel more vulnerable. But knowing this, you will have as an avatar to protect your vessel and take actions that will make sure, because you're more vulnerable in those areas now, that you are taking actions that will be very protective of these areas. Meaning, for instance, maybe you don't go where it's completely polluted and hard to breathe anymore. Maybe when it's cold outside and you see everybody around catching and mirroring a bacteria that are affecting respiratory system, maybe you don't go out. Maybe you just stay, where you are fine, where you're not likely to mirror them. And because you're not likely to, let's say, have an encounter with those, because your surrounding is kind of, how can we say that? Not opaque, but secured.
Right.
Yeah. So knowing this, knowing that you've been altered, you will have the responsibility to change your behavior in order to protect your vessel. If you don't take that responsibility, if you want to keep on acting like you were before that new set of information, then for sure you're going to catch on problem. For sure you're going to have disease. For sure you're going to have
I don't know if you can hear.
if you're not accepting this and you're
Excuse
still,
me.
if you're
Excuse
not,
me.
yeah.
Sorry, I have to interrupt. The connection was lost for the last 20 seconds approximately.
Okay.
Could you repeat?
Yes. Where did you left out?
You said something about acting
Yes. Okay. Let us sit down.
acting the old way, even though
Yes.
changes
Yes.
took place.
Can you hear us fine?
Yes.
Okay. If you're acting the old ways when you have been altered and so you not have a new set of information, most likely you're going to catch on stuff. Most likely you're going to be diseased. Most likely you're going to have issues. Most likely you're not going to be able to operate because your response cannot be the same because the information has been changed. If you take responsibilities for that, if you're like, okay, I made a choice. I altered myself. I own my responsibility. I am now going to switch my way of operating. I'm going to switch my behavior. I'm going to make sure I adjust my choices, my actions. Then you'll be fine because you'll be willing to deal with the new you. But if you still want to operate as the old avatar, functioning with a new set of information, then you're probably going to be having some physical issue, maybe some emotional issue, maybe some mental issue. You're going to have a new set of experience that will be unpleasant because you are not taking in consideration that you need to adjust your choices, that you need to adjust your action, that you need to adjust your way of playing this game because you had altered your vessel.
It does. I could imagine that most avatars probably did not expect such a change to how they are now supposed to live their lives.
Yes, because most of the avatars decided to receive the information as we're giving you a problem, we're giving you a solution.
Mhm.
But those choices were made consciously from those avatars. Was it good or bad? It doesn't matter. There is no need to say it was good or bad. It was their choice of experience. This is what they chose at the moment. If they consciously expand, you're able to see the different road this can take you to. Meaning, okay, something is given to me. I have no idea where it comes from. I don't know the source. I don't understand it per se. I have no conscious knowledge of it. But I'm going to take some other avatar's word and decide that if they tell me it's not good, it's dangerous, and I need to fear it, then I'm going to take this. This is your choice at the moment. You're steering your experience to that road. So you need to be okay with that. You need to accept the fact, okay, This is how I decided to receive the information. This is how I directed my experience in this playtime. I'm okay with this. So now you go with the pro that's been presented to you and you take it as, yes, I agree with that. This is how I decide to play. This is how I decide to apply to myself. I'm going to be fearing it. This is bad for me. This is dangerous. This is a threat to my life. This is a threat to my experience. Okay, now the other proposition that was given to you is we have a solution for it that will make you, protected, that would make sure that your experience is not going to be what you're fearing it was going to be. And we're bringing you a solution. You had the choice to decide, I'm not so sure because I have no knowledge of it. I don't know what this solution is about. I don't know this person presenting it to me. So I'm not sure I want to trust it.
Mhm.
Or you could decide, well, yes, I'm so afraid that whoever is going to give me a solution, I decided to roll with that experience because this is what I want in my playtime. I want to make sure that if I'm being told we have a solution to my fear, I want to take that solution. Then you take that solution. It's your choice, the way you behave. But every choice, every action leads to new experience, leads to new consequences, because we mentioned it before, we're in cause and effects. And every avatar cannot decide that they are not responsible because they are. And there is no right or wrong. There is just a choice of experience. It's perfectly okay to choose to be fearful. It's perfectly okay to choose to accept the solution. But this avatar, if their conscious mind could expand a little bit, or if they could learn from that experience a little bit, they will now understand that the consequences are sometimes not what we are thinking they will be. They will be able to broaden their spectrum a little more, thinking, okay, at the time I took the solution without even thinking or without even imagining that this solution could be a problem for me and could have other consequences and is actually altering me because I chose at the moment to disregard this aspect. Even if it was mentioned, you're injecting yourself something. Something is being put in your vessel. Therefore, you're being altered. This is factual. But if you were so caught up in the choice of, I want to experience that fear, I want to experience that solution, and I disregard the possibility of it to alter myself as an avatar, that's your choice. But it's not because you didn't look at this that it doesn't exist. It's your choice to ignore it. It's your choice to go with it, but it doesn't make it inexistent. And when you're living this experience, if everything works fine for you, maybe you will not learn anything. If not, you will learn to trust and decide that when you're giving a problem, you're going to take it as a problem. When you're giving a solution, you're going to take that solution and it works out for you. And that's your experience. And that's perfectly fine because it's your experience. But if you took that experience as I've been presenting with a problem that I accepted as a problem, with a solution that I accepted with a solution, and in fact, this solution was not a solution for me, now my knowledge and my conscious mind expanded a little bit because I know from experience that not every given solution is a solution for me, right?
Right.
So now, if I'm a little bit in this game, I should use it as a tool for other experiences that I'm going to have in this game that would serve me to know that all solutions are not necessarily good for me, even if they're presented as is. Do you know what we're trying to say?
I believe so.
Okay. So this is a perfect experience of how avatars are very quick to forget their responsibilities as avatar, right? And they are very quick to praise or blame outsiders, other players, other avatars, compared to praise or blame their own choices or being in agreement or being in a disagreement with the choices they made. But when you're in a disagreement, you can adjust because if you're still experimenting, if you're still living this game, this experience, that means constantly you have the opportunity to make new choices, take new actions, and adjust. Now, if you're not adjusting, if you're not taking responsibility, if you're not acknowledging the fact that you've been given a new set of information, you're going to create more problems.
Mhm.
And that's perfectly fine. Maybe this is the experience you want to have. But if you do want to have an experience that is problem-free or that is more pleasant as an avatar, then you will make sure that you draw something from that experience and you adjust your choices and you take that opportunity to expand your consciousness, expand your knowledge, learn from what you've been living, learn from what you've experienced, and now say, before I'm going to position myself, before I'm going to choose, before I'm going to decide what actions I'm going to put on, I'm really going to pay attention. Is it going to serve me and the experience that I'm trying to have? Or am I just going to take actions like this without even paying attention to it, without even consciously look at it? This is something that could really be helpful if it's been taken as an not lesson, but as an tool. And this is something that will keep on being disruptive if the avatar is not owning it. If the avatar is deciding this is not my responsibility. I've been giving this. They've been doing this to me. I had to. No, you know, playtime on Earth is choices, actions. This is pretty much what it is. And because it's choices, it means you have cause and effects. It means you have new consequences. It means you have new set of information constantly being given to you that you choose or not to accept or receive them. It's up to you. But this is what it's about. This playtime is about this, choices, period. So talking about this COVID situation, depending on who you ask, some avatar will tell you, well, this has been an awful experience. I've been the victim. I've been this, I've been that. Some other will tell you, this has been a wonderful experience. I've had a blast living this. I've had a blast experiencing this. I've had a blast being cut out from the world because it gave me time to go within. And other people could tell you, well, this has been a shitty experience, but I learned from it. And now I know that I will be very mindful in my choices and I will be very much paying attention at the choices that I'm making and make sure that they are serving me. You see what we're trying to say?
Yes. Thank you so much for dissecting that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It's been a major event, and you mentioned earlier that it has been even interesting from your perspective to observe, right?
Yes.
That, I guess, says something about the special or extraordinary characteristics of it.
Yes. It is extraordinary. And don't get us wrong, but it is so extraordinary that for once, most of the avatars be in agreement into one thing, one little thing that got them scared. Like, oh, this is to be feared. But when there are, in fact, so many things that need to be feared in your playtime that has been proven to be feared, then it doesn't have the same impact. But this time, this little thingy, it took on. And this was amazing to watch. It was fairly entertaining. And it was amazing to see how it developed, how it changes even your own interaction within your own circles, within your own fellow avatars. It literally somehow changes the way the game has been played within each other. Does that make sense?
Can you explain more?
Yes, we can. We do not want to say it divided, but we want to say it reinforced as separation. Remember, the veil is supposed to make you forget, and therefore you're forgetting that you are connected to pretty much every other player, right? Or every surrounding. But this little thingy that became so huge in your playtime, that was so amazing to watch, actually created a big separation into the players within their avatar self. For once, avatar became afraid of approaching other avatars, became afraid of interacting with other avatars when the game was designed for them to interact with each other. So somehow this little thing coded not only the avatar, I would like to say, but somehow coded the game design as well. And steered the game in a way that was completely mind-blowing because it was not predictable as much as other stuff that has been put into places could have predicted change, but this was so little and the response was so strong compared to its signal that it was pretty much amazing to watch the big impact it had, not only on the avatars, but also on the rules of the game. Does that make more sense?
It does.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about bigger picture here? Since this affected the game in such an extraordinary way. Are there any intentions that were involved in this? And if so, by whom and why?
We will say probably. We will say very well done. Who and why, we are not sure it's appropriate, but we could tell you that. Who would it beneficiate to have the game change to a point where separation is bigger, where individuals are looking out for themselves more, where control of simple ideas could be received and embraced and accepted by masses, where it would be okay to be altering avatars, vessels to function a certain way, to probably weaken them somehow and to destabilize them in their own being. Which team, according to your knowledge, will be beneficiating from this?
Well, for me, that would clearly be the negative team.
Clearly. Yes. But the beauty of it, even if it was intended to be beneficiating this team, the two other beneficiated as well. Because remember what we said. Somehow it's separated, yes. But because it's polarized, you cannot have one raising without the other one raising. So it reinforced also communities. How do you call that? Brotherhood, sisterhood kind of relationship on some other avatars. It reinforced help, reinforced caregivers, it reinforced respect, it reinforced dedication and dependency, like how one was sick and needed to be taken care of. It reinforces a different set of consequences and action, reaction, and emotions that were actually very much directed towards the other team, the serving of others. And it also beneficiated the neutral because just factual could be delightful to watch how a simple idea can develop, can serve one side and start to serve another one, can start to steer someone back and forth and end up being the question, was it good or bad? The neutral will tell you it was both. So it did serve the other team as well. But in terms of intention, was it intended? We would like to say that we believe it was triggered by a specific team, but it was actually serving the three teams.
Mm-hmm. Right. Is the team that initiated this content with the results, the consequences?
Well, probably, but are they going to be satisfied? Probably not, because the players in all this team are not easy to satisfy. They're always seeking more results, as we all are, pretty much. And therefore, if this was pretty much amazing and such a good idea and such a good play, that will probably not be enough. Especially because it is a high probability that they omit to accept the consequences it will have on the other teams as well.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. What about the separation that took place? I'm
Yes.
sure a lot of those reading this or listening to this experienced it in some shape or form in their private circles, family, maybe even. And in some cases, this has been irreparable.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that, on those kind of experiences and how to handle them?
Yes. Well, it's probably because to start with, they were not receiving the information the same way, and they were not in acceptance that the other reception was possible. Let's say, remember, we're going to start with the first information that was given. Something is out. You need to be fearful. It's dangerous. You need to watch out for yourself. You need to watch out for your body. 2 response, or we should have the 3 response. First one, meh, whatever. Second response, yeah, I'm accepting this. I'm going to be fearful. I'm going to believe it's dangerous. I'm going to watch out for my body. The other one is going to be, oh, well, not necessarily. I'm not sure it is true. I'm not sure it's going to affect my body. I'm just going to keep on being, living my experience and not paying attention to it. So if you're accepting.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that was the third one you just explained?
Yeah. Yes. If we want to push the third one, that would be, yeah, they're lying. That could be also, taken this way. We'll kind of like stretch out our spectrum. You will have the yes, 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 yes. We're buying into this. It's dangerous. We're fearful. It's no good. We need to follow. On the other extremity, you will have no, 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 no. They're lying. It's manipulation. This is not true. Forget that. And more towards the middle, you have Meh. Okay, maybe. I don't know. I don't care. Yeah? Let's take now this full spectrum in the same family. You have avatars responding to this set of information at a different place on this spectrum.
Mhm.
This could have been all okay if each of the avatar were able to consciously accept that this spectrum exists and that every avatar has the right to choose where they position themselves on it, right?
Right.
Because this way, every reception of the information, every integration, every interpretation of it will be respected and it would not create issues between the avatars playing. But because avatars are stubborn and very anchored in their belief system, if one is saying, no, this is BS, this is manipulation, they're lying, this is not to be listened to, don't listen, don't go there, da 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 da. And the other one is saying, no, this is true, this is so scary, we have to be fearful, we have to fear this is dangerous, and yada, yada, yada. And they want to impose their vision on each other, like it's often the case, because remember, you're living in a polarized world, so therefore, their reaction tends to be polarized. They will get at each other and it would create conflicts and it would create misunderstanding and incomprehension in terms of how can you be part of my family and think this way, and how can you be part of my family and think this way. But and they will want to alter each other way of receiving the information instead of cherishing and loving where the other is at. Do you see the difference?
Yes.
Yes. This will create conflicts for sure. If an avatar is actually able to accept that every aspect of the spectrum is valuable, that every aspect of the spectrum exists, and therefore an avatar can position itself everywhere they want or feel like at the moment the information has been given to them. And it's okay with that because it's their own choice. And remember, freedom of choice, avatar can do whatever the fuck they want. So if this individual can accept that, there will be no issue. There will be no conflict. There will be just what you call, you have a saying on that, agree to disagree. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah. Agree to disagree. And it's okay. My choice is to go this way. Your choice is to go that way. It doesn't mean we're incompatible. It just means that on one subject, we're not in agreement. Sometimes you go to a restaurant with your friends and or your family and you feel like eating French fries and they feel like eating green beans. You're in disagreement in your choices. Does that make you incompatible? Does that make the dinner a big flop? No, it has nothing to do with the interaction you may have. It just has something to do with your choices and the experience that you decide each to have. Same with this. The problem is on this, because there is a intellectual aspect of it, there is a conceptual, rationalizing, critical, analytical, the left brain part that is in action. And because the ego that is here to protect your vessel is coming into place as well, all of this is somehow creating an avatar that wants to stand firm on its position and decided that they're holding the truth on it. This is where the problem lies. And this is a very human thing to do. Everything is constantly moving, evolving. We know that. We consciously know that. Humans are not so sure of it. Meaning when they see a table, for them it's a table. It's not moving vibrational that are forming or shaping what you call a tangible object as a table. Same with everything. Nothing is constantly the same. Is always evolving, it's always shifting, it's always vibrating, it's always different. But because the perception of a human is not like this, they will be holding firm thinking that their truth is the truth, when truth is very subjective. Facts are a different story, but truth are very, very subjective. They are very individualized. So your truth might be different from her truth. But because at this moment of this experience being thrown at them, they were holding and standing firm on their truth, they recognize the others to be in the wrong and to be somehow danger for them if they were following this path or this truth or this reaction to the set of information that was given. And because they cared, if it was within the family, for this other avatar, the other individual, they will try to make this person see it from their point of view and not only see it, but accept it the same way they are receiving it. Even if it comes from a loving aspect, This is why there's no wrong or bad or whatever. It's just coming from a loving aspect. This is how they reacted to it. Loving that person, wanting the best for them, being sure that they're holding the truth and their perception or vision of the set of information is accurate. So they are trying to bring this one with them to make sure they are safe and they are well taken care of. So it's a loving aspect, but it's a somehow human loving aspect because it's very conditional. It's like it's a loving aspect, but it's conditioned by their belief. A more expanded consciousness loving aspect will be okay. I recognize that there is a possibility of receiving that information very differently. I accept you and your truth to be as valuable as my truth, and I'm okay with it. And because I care and love you, I'm going to be okay to not be in agreement with you on that matter. And I'm going to still love you, and I'm going to still support you, and I'm going to be here to help you when you're facing consequences. And this is valid for both parts, right? You would understand it's not just one part, it's both parts thinking the same thing, right? If you are able to do that, then there will be no conflict within the family on that subject. But it's very, very consciously enlarged to be able to behave this way. When you're in the avatar mode, it's most likely that you're going to be taken by the ego part, so that you're going to roll with whatever emotions, with whatever left brain of you that can analyze all the situation, and most likely that you're going to stand firm on your truth, thinking is the truth, and you're going to clash.
What I feel contributed to that was that you mentioned just before that either perspective kind of saw the choice of the other person as like a danger to themselves.
Yes.
Okay? But then
Yes.
there was also this element introduced that your choice is going to put the other person in danger, which created a whole new level of friction because those who accepted the information, accepted, for example, the solution in quotation
Yes.
marks, the shot,
Yeah.
they were saying, I mean, not all of them, obviously, but a lot of them were told, I guess that's a more accurate way to say, that those who would not accept the shot are putting others in danger.
Yes.
And those who did not accept the shot were told that those who do take the shot actually put others in danger because there's something like shedding, I believe was the term that was used.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, let's take the first one. This is a little bit hypocritical because if you believe that the solution is actually a true solution, then you're protected. So therefore, if you're embracing your own truth at the moment, if you're embracing your own choices, your own interpretation of things, getting the shot would protect you, period. Disregarding of whoever is not getting it is not going to affect you because you're going to have your armor, correct?
Right.
So if they were actually embracing their choice fully, if they were actually going with 100% of what's been giving them as a solution, then they would not be able to say that they are at risk because the other one did not take it. Because doing this, they are already putting in doubt the solution. Do you see what we're talking about?
Yes.
Yes. So that's for this. So this will be basically an avatar not fully embracing their choices. That would be an avatar doubting their own truth. That would be an avatar not owning their choices. And this is another problem. But if they were actually standing firm, this is a solution, this is what I choose because it's right and because I've been told this and because yada, 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 then there is no other problem because you're already protected and whatever the other one is doing is none of your business. Boom, done.
Right.
Now, if you look on the other side, that's a little trickier because the other side will say, okay, we don't want that. This is dangerous for us. Whoever is going to get, we're going to have somehow repercussion of it. Okay. Now your choice will be to alter your belief system because if you do believe that because your family member got it, it's going to affect you, it's going to hurt you, and it's going to be dangerous for you, then for sure it will because you're going to actually bring this, higher within yourself. It's going to match it. It's going to bring it back and boom, it's going to be a problem. You're going to attract it. But if you decided that, okay, this is what they chose to do, This is their own experience. My own experience is I don't want to have any alteration, and therefore I'm not going to accept, and I'm not going to try to steer energy within me that would bring up some stuff that could mirror them and mirror what they're going to send out to me, and then take it and have issue with it. To the contrary, I'm going to decide, okay, this is not for me. I don't want no part of it. It's their choice. I respect it. But for me, I don't want to have to deal with this, and it's not going to affect me, period. And therefore, they're not going to be at risk, because they're not going to go and then wake up some part of them that would resonate with what's going to bring out what the other one has inside. Does that make sense?
Does.
Yeah, it's the same as, we believe we mentioned this before with you. We talked about people saying you need protection when you do this kind of work. It's exactly the same. If you believe you need protection, then you do, right? If you don't believe you need protection, if you believe that you're perfectly fine, then you are. It's exactly the same. It's going to mirror what you're sending out, whatever you're going to go look within and trying to bring a little more up. And then therefore you're going to projecting out, is going to mirror it, and you're going to bring it back. This is exactly the same. It works on everything. And this is what really is a law of attraction, except this part is often omitted by the people who are carrying the law of attraction knowledge. So this is actually how you resolve the situation. If both of them really own their truth and really stand firm 100% and not halfway with their own belief system, then there is no issue, because the one that took it believe they are protected, and so therefore whoever is not doesn't affect them. And the one that did not take it decided, well, it's not for me. This is dangerous. I'm not going to bring anything near me that is touching this, and therefore I'm not going to attract what the other one is going to send me, and they're protected. Done. You see, the problem starts in humans' interaction when they are not owning 100%. It's halfway. When it's 98%. This is where the issue starts. But if you have two interactions happening within two avatars, and those avatars are standing firm in their own choices, because that's their choices. If they are doubting, they're not ready to choose. But if they're standing firm on their choices, then this should not happen. It should never happen, because they need to take ownership of this and run with it fully. If not, they need to take another choice.
What if someone changes their position on it and changes their beliefs about it? Let's say someone who accepted the solution, in quotation marks, the shot. Okay. I don't know if you can still hear me, but for me, the screen is frozen. All right, we're back.
Okay.
Sorry, we seem to have a bit of interference today.
Yes, that's what we understood. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Let's say someone who accepted the shot, so to speak, and experiences a weakening of
Yes.
their vessel. They now change their opinion about it and say, okay, that was a bad choice. And I'm
Yes.
using the word bad deliberately here. It was a bad
Yes.
choice, and I want this out of my system. I want it gone. I don't want this coding anymore. Is it
Yeah.
possible to actually achieve that?
That's a very good question. Everything is possible. So we want to say yes, but we want to say no at the same time, because it would probably take a lot of discipline to do that, and a lot of training and alignments per se. This is going to be in their system, right? Because they chose to put it in their system. Like we were talking about before, there are adjustments that they can do. They could start noticing how this is affecting their vessel, start to really study themselves and see, okay, this area of my vessel is weakened. This area of my vessel is maybe a little stronger. And if they are wanting to repair or to make the weakening in their system a little stronger or a little less weak, then the first step they will need to do is look at which area is responding differently, how it's affecting them. We mentioned the example before, it was the respiratory system, right? But for another person, maybe it's something different. Maybe it's the hearing, maybe it's the tasting, maybe it's whatever. It could be any area of their vessels. Really focus on this one. Say, okay, this is the one that is targeted right now. This is the one that is being affected. This is where I now respond and treat information differently. Okay, knowing this, they will have to discipline themselves to really prepare their vessel and protect their in order.
And we're back.
Yeah,
I don't know why this keeps happening today.
we do not know either.
Could you please rewind to at that kind of person would have to look at?
Yes, so it's going to be discipline because you're going to have first to recognize which area of yourself has been altered and which area of yourself is expressing now a weakness, right? Okay. The example we gave before, it was the respiratory system. Well, it could be anything. It could be a skin issue. It could be a respiratory. It could be a taste. It could be a hearing. It could be anything. So first, the avatar needs to recognize where the vessel is weakened. You're still there?
I'm still there.
Okay, perfect. Then it needs to take choices, actions, and adjust its behavior so it doesn't put its vessel in a situation that would press on this weakness. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. Kind of like choosing to reinforce that part of them by countering mentally the weakness. Are you familiar with how to rewire a human brain? Are you familiar with it?
Yes, to some extent.
Yeah. So you know it takes about 21 days to reshape
Yes.
the habits. Okay. And you know that if you train yourself, if you discipline yourself to tell yourself certain affirmation or put yourself in certain vibrations that would make you feel like if you were in that situation. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, that could be a help too. Let's say if they remember how strong this aspect of their vessel were before and how it would make them feel, they could do that. They could apply that to themselves every day for at least 21 days, morning and night. They would relieve the feeling of being in that shape, of having the vessel in that shape, of knowing that this part of them is very strong. You still there?
I am.
Yes. So this could be also one thing they could do to reverse somehow the coding.
Mhm.
It would patch it, if we may say. So
Right.
knowing where it happens, protecting their vessel, but not putting themselves in situation where this is being pushed, rewiring their habits and their own mind by experiencing again the vibration of when it was strong and working fine, and be very mindful of all the food. And we don't like that word, but we cannot find another name for food. So food they are putting into their body. So this could really serve their vessel. So they could really strengthen every other aspect of it in order for it to be able to support the weak part of it. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yes, because see, this could be working as an entire mechanism. So even if you have weak leak, sometimes it could be compensated because it's a whole machine. Some area can work separately, and if they stop working, it shut down the whole system. Okay. But also, some areas can be compensated when they're a little weaker if the others are acknowledging it and working and being fed the right way so they can really, really work hard. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. So we are not 100% sure that in an avatar life, this could be reversed, but it could be patched, meaning their experience as an avatar can still continue and not being disrupted by this if they are disciplined enough and if they committed to really operate the changes in their habits and in their belief system that would need to be taken so their vessel could be patched.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. But also at the same time, and this is something that we want to emphasize, when you have a choice to be made, such as taking something in that you know you're not going to be able to take out, you really need to make sure that you're 100% committed to your choice, knowing that you are not 100% sure of the consequences this choice would take you. Because it's the same situation as each player holding their truth is the same. If you were committed to the idea, if you were sure, and if you took it knowing that the consequences are still unknown, that's a choice you need to own. Then once you made it, you consciously know you cannot take it out because this was given to you within the solution. It's something you take in, but you're not taking it out. Therefore, you could now accept the fact that it's in, acknowledge where it's tickling you, taking actions in order to patch it. But if you keep on going for your experience, saying, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have taken that. That's a bad choice. That's bad, bad, bad. Now look at me. Now look at this. Now you're feeding it.
Right.
This is definitely something that if you want to repair or fix or change it, this is a road that you don't want to go because it's going to feed it, feed it, feed it, feed it. And not only is going to feed it, but it's going to also weaken some other aspect of your vessel because now you're beating yourself for it. You're not accepting your choice. Number one rule of an avatar, if it wants to line up, if it wants to be okay, it needs to accept the choices and the consequences that comes with the choices, take responsibility for it. Whatever the choice is, this is really important.
Yeah.
Dwelling on something or regretting or feeling sad for yourself or all of this type of feeling could be very satisfying at the moment because you are very angry that you take that choice. You are dwelling on it. You are feeling like shit. You are regretting. That's pretty much true. But it's not going to allow you to move forward. You're going to get stuck on this. And therefore, you're going to make that event bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's going to take a place that is so big in your experience that you're not going to be able to experience anything else past that. The discipline and the hard part is acceptance. If you accept that this is the choice that you made, that this is the action that you took towards this choice, and that now it's a consequence of your choice, and you need to own it and be okay that at the time you thought it was the right experience for you, but now you learn that it may not have been the best choice or the best experience for you. And therefore, you're going to take this as not a lesson, but as a tool, knowing that going further, you're going to pay attention to what consequences can happen and to what choices you're making. But in the meantime, you're accepting that this has been done, cannot be reversed, but you're going to work your best to surely patch it.
Very good. Thank you for emphasizing that again.
You're welcome.
May I ask a question out of personal interest?
Yes.
If you could elaborate on an observation I've made in the context of my work, I would say that I encounter people who have already embarked on their spiritual journey or spiritual awakening as an avatar. And I've noticed during the time of COVID that almost all of the people I got to work with, they all had said no to the offer that was made of the solution, receiving the shot. And I was wondering why the correlation was so high.
It is so high because guess what happened when you're on a spiritual awakening? What happened to your consciousness?
You elevate and expand.
Yes, pretty much. Therefore, what does that mean concretely? It means you're able to have a spectrum that is wider in terms of collecting information, in terms of digesting, interpreting, and visualize the consequences, the possibility that this information can evolve into, correct?
Correct.
There you have your answer.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because if you have those people coming to see you that are already on this awakening, that are already expanding consciously, then when a solution is presented to them, they're going to try and check with them, are we sure? Can we trust it? If the answer is yes, okay. If the answer is no, or if the answer is maybe, not sure, this goes with the no. Because as soon as you're unsure of something, that means you're not granted to be able to accept the consequences.
Ah, right.
So therefore, most of the people that have consciousness that allow them to come to those answers, I'm not sure or no, they would pretty much not go further because they know there's a risk and they are not fully ready to commit to that risk and handle the consequences that comes with it.
Right. Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We talked about beliefs, the power of beliefs. But we
Yes.
also talked about food in an expanded sense. Can you expand on or elaborate on the role that our beliefs play regarding the effect that certain food has on us. Let's look at smoking, for example, right? One person might smoke and have negative effects in their body. Another person might not have any negative effects because they might believe differently about this.
Yes.
What is your perspective on it?
But our perspective is what you believe is what is. Pretty much. This is pretty much what it is. Because you're resonating with that frequency when you're believing it. Let's take your example of the smoking part. If an individual is smoking and every time they smoke, they're like, I should quit. This is bad for my health. This is going to be cancer. This is really bad. It's bad for my wallet. All they have is just negative stuff about it, right? And you have another one that every time they smoke, they're like, oh, yes, thank you. I needed this. This makes me feel good. It helps me relax. It puts me in a good mood. It's good for me because if I hadn't taken this one, I would have been awful. So this is really helping me out. Two different behavior, same actions, right? Because those are two different approach to the same actions. The avatar at the time is in a different frequency. And because it's in a different frequency doing the same actions, the action will now tend to have consequences that would be directed by this frequency. So if you're sending a frequency of feel like shit, not good for my health, cancer, bad, yada, 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 what are you going to attract?
Yeah.
If you're sending a frequency that is loving, oh, this feels so good, release, this joyful, this is pleasant, what are you going to attract? See, all of this is pretty much the same rules for every choices and actions you're making. The same could be applied to, let's say, somebody on a diet. This is a perfect example because this is something that is often discussed in your realm. Somebody on a diet. They will start, let's say, a diet. They will try everything, maybe 6, 7 different diets, and they will not be able to lose any type of weight, right? But the day they decided to let go of it, the day they decided that they did not need any diet, that every food they're going to take is going to make them feel good, is going to bring them closer to their goal, is going to make them feel toned and healthy, then all of a sudden, without doing anything different than usual, they're going to lose weight. This is exactly the perfect example for the rule that is driving this realm, or at least one of them. Whatever you are resonating with at the moment, or whatever frequency you're receiving and interpreting a choice that you're making, this is how you're going to attract the consequences X, Y, or Z. It's true for everything. It's true for, what can we say? We use the food, we use the diet. We have so many examples of that. We cannot even choose one. Okay. Simple thing. You're going to go to a party, right? You're going to go to a party and you are going to this party not wanting to go to this party. You feel like staying home. You feel like staying, cooking. You don't want to go see faces. You don't want to entertain. You don't want to do none of that. So you're going to this party because you feel you have to go to this party, but you really don't want to go. So it's not bringing you any joy. Okay. You're going to the party most likely is not going to be pleasant, or it's not going to be the best moment you can have, or it's not going to be fulfilling for you. You're switching your mood. You're going to the party because you're so excited. You need to go out. You want to have fun. You want to meet your friend. You want to entertain. You want to just socialize. You just need this. You're like, oh, this is so good. You're going to be out there and you're going to put this out. Therefore, your joy is going to start to be contagious. And you're going to have such a good time. You're going to attract people that are going to see you like this bubbly self, like this sunshine, like this person that is a joy to be around, compared to if you are there carrying that vibration of, I don't want to go out, I want to stay home, then you're going to have people perceiving you like, oh, you're such a party pooper. You're the same person. It's just you're not vibrating the same way at the moment. Therefore, the reality you're creating, whatever you're attracting, is in resonance with what you're putting out there. So it's the same for everything, pretty much everything.
Right. May I play the devil's advocate?
Yes, we love that.
What about those instances? And I've had them myself where you don't feel like going to an event. You're like, annoying. Why do I have to go? You force yourself to go, and then you end up having a good time. Like, how does that work?
But what happened when you get there? From your own experience, what happened?
It was actually enjoyable. That's what I can say.
Because you saw people that made you feel joyful to see them?
Yes.
Yes. So as soon as you got there, you were able to switch your frequency and embrace and accept the situation, correct?
Right.
Yes. So instantly, because you now resonated differently, you're attracting what you're resonating with. But if you were maintaining that,
Mm.
"Ugh,"
Mhm.
party pooper face, if you were feeling not joyful, if you were feeling like shit, if you were feeling annoyed by people, if you were feeling like, I don't want to see her face, and you were carrying that vibration, we could guarantee that this party will be a bummer.
Right.
Sometimes you're not willing to do something, you're forcing yourself because part of you, probably unconsciously, is knowing that it will makes you feel the way you want to feel. Is just you're too lazy at the moment to make that transition. So your own self is going to give you a push, or your team, or your real you is going to give you a little push. Let's go, Mario. Let's go on that board. Let's go on that adventure. Something's good is going to happen. So you force yourself, you get there, and instantly you see a face, you see something, you hear something, you're tasting something. Your senses are gathering information that will bring you joy and that will instantly shift your vibration.
Okay.
What you put out there can be switched in a fraction of a second, because since everything is evolving, everything evolves with you as well. But the minute you vibrate differently, that's the minute you're already pushing some consequence out of the way, and you're not creating a new reality and new set of consequences. Does that make sense?
It does. So the laws are always operating. There's
Yes.
no exception.
No exception.
All right. Speaking of laws,
Yes.
are there limits to what we can do on the physical level? For example, there is this concept of levitation,
Yes.
and most people would probably say it's not possible. There are physical laws here, gravity, you can't levitate.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And others would say, oh, we very much believe this is possible, and maybe I've already done it. Can you elaborate on where the limits are?
Yes, we could definitely elaborate on that. And we were going to say you should talk to Emily about this, because she was part of those who did not believe this could happen until it happened to her.
Interesting.
Interesting, right? So basically, your body, you need to really picture that, is a vessel, correct? So well, nowadays you have cars that drive themselves. So maybe it's not a good example anymore, but let's go back, right, into your time when vessels needed a driver, correct? So your body is a vessel. You need a driver. The driving force will be your energy, your true energy being, your true self, the player that is going to come and then invest the avatar, right? So this energy, like we mentioned before, is limitless. Now, the realm of Earthian playtime is ruled by limitations because it's been designed this way. But what happens is sometimes the energy inhabiting the vessel is so strong and so willing to manipulate material world, or parts of this material world, that it could make something that would be perceived impossible as possible. The same way apply to sometimes you have energy or spiritual being that are not incarnated, but are able to move material objects or to trigger material reactions, correct? So this is the same. Is because at the moment this happened, the energy is so contained in the body, in the vessel, and to be ruled by the body regulation and the body limitation, that it will override it and manipulate the material, the tangible aspect of it, in a way that it could make it levitate, or it could make it do other stuff without the intention of the body of the avatar being involved. Meaning at this point, you will have to invite more parts of your energy within your body. Does that make sense?
It does. This would have to be done consciously,
Yes.
deliberately.
Yeah, willingly. Yes. Only a part of yourself can be contained in that vessel, right? So therefore you have to shrink somehow yourself, just like us, when we have to tune to energy matched to be able to use that body. The same happened to you. You have to somehow tune your own energy as an energy being to be able to operate that body. So therefore you're not bringing your entire self with you, right?
Right.
So when you are actually connecting to your higher self, you are willingly and you are consciously integrating more with your higher self. Usually you do it with you leaving the body because it's easier, right? To just get out of this vessel, join with yourself, catch up, and then come back in. But in some cases, you are indeed able to do the reverse, where you're going to bring a little more of yourself in, which will override and overrule the law of your own body within the playtime.
Ah, very interesting. Thank you so much. I've been noticing on social media, especially, that there are more and more people out there who are actually showcasing their um, ability to manipulate the world around them
Yeah.
against the laws that are seem to be in
Yeah.
place.
And if you were to record those avatar as they were doing it, if you were to put like a recording signal connected to their brain, you will probably see that the wave their brain is operating is matching the wave that you are when you are connecting to higher self or to energy being or into metaphysical experiments or stuff like that, because there will be indeed, and for this case, we can use channeling and not transmitting. They will be indeed channeling a bigger part of their energy.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for explaining that.
You're welcome.
Um, there was one more question regarding food in the big sense I forgot to ask. From your perspective, considering that food production and farming on our plane has changed a lot over time, what do you recommend looking out for when deciding what physical food to digest? What would be good parameters?
Specific diet, you mean?
Yes, are there general parameters you can mention that are maybe good for everyone in a way?
Well, yes and no, because we would say that, of course, natural ingredients and not what you call processed food would be best, of course, because it would be easier for your body, the way it's conceived, to digest and to get benefits from, because it's at a stage that is compatible with the way your organism is functioning. But we would say that the main recommendation is the way you are approaching and feeling the food that you put in front of you. Meaning, we could not say that it's best for you to just eat veggies and grain compared to somebody that would just eat meat and cereals or whatever. We cannot say that because it depends on the approach the avatar has regarding the food. Again, remember frequencies, right?
Yeah.
Vibrations. So if you're looking at your meal being, let's say, just all veggies and fruits drink and nothing else, and you're looking at this meal and you're like, I'm gonna eat this, I'm gonna be starving, this is not gonna fulfill me, like this is such a bullshit diet, and yada yada yada, then what a lot of people claim to be the perfect diet for the way your body is conceived is not gonna do well with you. Because you're gonna look at this and you're gonna already send out the vibration that this is not going to be good for you, that you're not going to be able to process any nutrition fact or aspect of this food, and it's not going to be good for you. So yes, guess what? It's not going to be good for you, for sure. But if the same person, you place a plate with meat and with like something that is a bit on the sweet side, for instance, and this person is looking at it now and say, oh, thank God, this is going to be so good. This is going to nourish me. It's going to give me strength. It's going to be able to bring me all the nutrient I need and yada, yada, yada. Then this is going to actually be good for that person because it's going to be absorbed with the frequency and the certainty of it having beneficial impact on this avatar. You see what we're trying to say? So, of course, by design, and we want to emphasize that by design, some food in terms of nutritious are easier on your vessels. And those will be the food that are more naturally offered to you, less processed, less chemically altered. All right.
But that might also include meat.
Yes, of course. That might include meat. Absolutely. So meat, fish, flesh, however you want to call it. Also, there's a way to use meat for nourishment. And this happened in the killing as well. If you kill just to kill and you have no respect for the animal that you're taking in order to survive or to nourish yourself, it would not be the same as if you were blessing and thanking the animal at the moment you are taking its life for you to nourish yourself with. It would not be the same. So we would say that in a perfect world, growing your own food, killing your own animals, saying and sending blessing for the animals and thanking him and gratitude and all this stuff each time you have to kill one, and then blessing your plate and vibrating in a way that you are so convinced that this plate is going to bring you everything you need, it's going to feed your vessel, it's going to take care of it, it's going to take care of you, then this will be the perfect way to go for it. But because we're not in a perfect playtime, of course, what you could go with is really what resonates with you to start with. Saying, if you're not attracted to meat because you decided that meat is not for you because you have a certain relationship with the animals and you cannot get around the idea of eating them, of consuming them for your own benefits, then don't eat meat. If you have no problem eating meat because you are convinced that in your own belief system, this is the only way to bring iron to your body, to bring special, need or beneficial intake into your body, then by all means, absorb meat. But in that case, maybe privileged meat that has been killed a proper way by being thanked, by being praised, by being blessed in order to serve the human vessel and not the meat that has been disrespected, that has been produced in quantity just to feed some kind of greed. Do you, what difference we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So if you can do that, then you would definitely privilege that kind of meat. But then if you're not into that and you are just into vegetables, fruits, some processed food, some fish or whatever, it could be just as good. It's like there is no specific diet because remember, every vessel is tailor-made to the avatar playing it. And every vessel will have different way of accepting the food you're putting in it. And some vessel might not be able to digest some fruits or might not be able to digest some vegetables that would appear to be perfectly fine according to the design of the vessel. But in some cases, no, it would not work. And therefore, is that food good or bad? It depends on which avatar you're asking. So it's the same with everything that you're going to intake in terms of alimentary food. The only thing that we can stand firm on is every food that has been chemically altered or processed will automatically somehow alter the way your body is functioning because there is a logic into it. Since you're ingesting something that has been chemically changed, it is possible that this affects you as well because it's not properly digested and because it's chemically altering your system as well. So if you are seeking our advice on food, we would say you could pretty much eat whatever you want as long as it's resonating with you, as long as when you are approaching your plate, you are feeling joy, excitement, and gratitude compared to guilt, fear, and greed. And as long as you are also respecting the way your body functions by noticing when some food are not being digested properly or are not functioning well with you. Because since everybody is different, this we cannot speak as a general. So if you want to know what best diet is for you, observe the impact it has as long as you're intaking it, knowing that you need to be in that feeling, knowing that you need to feel thankful, that you're full of joy and excitement. Take it in. Now, if some stuff are still not doing right by you or still not being processed correctly by your body, then maybe put those stuff aside and take them out of your diet. But if emotionally, mentally, consciously, you are eating something that is in your plate that brings you fulfillment, satisfaction, joy, excitement, that is resonating with you, there is no counter issue with that. There's nothing that will affect your body in a negative way unless you notice it. And then this is the part you take out. Compared to if you are trying because you heard that it's the proper way to go with, this type of food because you've been pressured by peers to not eat meat, because you've been guilted, because you've been somehow painted as a animal killer or whatsoever, everything negative you can see with that. If you're approaching a vegetarian diet based on this aspect, this diet is going to be wrong for you. We can tell you that right now. Because each and every time you're going to eat what's in your plate, you're going to eat it out of resentment. You're going to not feel grateful. You're going to feel, let's say, bitter about it. Then this is not going to work right. You really need to match the frequency of your intake with a higher frequency, no matter what's in the pit. Because sometimes you will find yourself in a situation or in a country or in places where you don't have access to certain type of food. When you only have access to the type of food that maybe you decided was not good for you. But you will have at one point to intake food in order to maintain your vessel. So what's going to be? You're going to starve and you're going to put your vessel in a position that is going to be lacking of a lot because you decided firmly not to go with this type of diet. Or you're going to decide that no matter what, no matter where you are, the food that is being provided and presented to you that you're able to put in your plate, you're going to be grateful to it. You're going to eat it with excitement. You're going to look at it with joy, and you're going to decide that it's going to nourish you the correct way and protect your vessel. Do you see what we're trying to say?
Yes, thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. Thank you for emphasizing that again. I know we've talked about this before in the past, but I believe this is a very important topic.
It is. It is because in your society, like we said, remember we talked about it in a COVID situation, but the truth, people are very, 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 very narrow-minded when it comes to truth, thinking the truth is the truth and not their own truth. So this could be an issue, and wanting to do well, human beings tends to pressure other human beings with the best interest at heart, right? But it's still the same result. They are pressuring, they are guilting, they are shaming other human beings because their choice doesn't match with their truth. And if you want to tell your people how to eat right, then they need to decide what is right for them. And they need to observe themselves. They need to constantly be in a vibration of gratitude, goodness, excitement, and joy when it comes to eating. If those are not met, then probably something is going to go wrong. And if something go wrong when those are met, those requirements are met, is because now they can notice that the way their body is wired, made, or functioning is not allowing them to eat this type of food.
Right.
But it's not because they've been told, pressure, or shamed that they're not going to eat it. It's because their body is telling them, no, this is not for us.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
All right. We've covered a lot today, and I'm quite impressed with Emily, especially that she's holding up. Can you tell us about the state of her body, her
Yeah,
energy levels?
the body is fine. The energy is fine. The issue will be on her vocal cords and the back of her throat right now. There is a bit of an inflammation and it's probably altering the way we're speaking as well, but it doesn't bother us. It's probably bothering her more than us because we're not the one feeling the physical strangle. But it should be okay. It should be okay.
Okay. I do feel that this is maybe enough for today in any
Okay.
case. I've asked all my questions that came up after going through last week's material. You have gone beyond that. Thank you so much for diving into the COVID
You're very welcome.
thing. That was very interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be interested in your perspective on that.
Well, we hope so.
Very helpful material. Is there something that you feel we need to discuss in the context of the physical layer of the player, or the avatar before maybe we move on to the next layer in the next session?
Well, to be honest, there are always some stuff that could be added. There are always some stuff that could be fed to the subject. But we do believe that we covered at least a large aspect of it. And if we do want to move on and continue on this experience and these conversations, we probably will have to move on because we could spend more time and we could elaborate more and we could go on and on and on about the same subject. But we believe that we might end up being stuck in one layer, and this probably is not the purpose of it, is it? So maybe we can decide that this is a good amount of information unless you have other aspect or question that rise, but we could decide that maybe this will do for the time being, and we could now maybe move on to a different aspect if it's okay. And this will be probably very well to wrap up the chapter on physicality.
All right. I agree. Yes.
All right.
Yes, I believe the next layer would or could be the emotional one. But as mentioned, let's do this next time.
All right.
To grant Emily some rest, I will also have the opportunity to check if there are maybe a few more questions regarding the physical layer before we move on.
Yes, and also we would like to say that sometimes if you are within another chapter, connection to a previous or further chapters may happen, in which case it will be okay for us to open a parenthesis and maybe elaborate a little more and add on a previous or further chapter. Is that okay?
Yes, that's wonderful.
We could do that. This will not be an issue for us, but yes, probably moving on will be the right thing to do. Otherwise, we will spend too much of your so-called time on the same chapter.
Yes, wonderful. May I ask which aspect of Rufus has just come through?
Yes, the one speaking right now.
Yes.
And pretty much the vocal cords a little differently because of the strength that is left in them, but this is what you call the mother.
I'm so sorry, the connection got cut off. Could you
Yeah.
maybe start again?
Yes, we were saying that this aspect of us is what you call the mother, and we pretty much like this. And maybe today, the way we speak or the tone of our voice may be altered because of the strength that is missing in vocal cords of Emily, but this is us, the mother.
All right, that makes sense because it sounded a bit different than
Yeah, we
usual.
just showed up as we sense that the emotion will be probably next chapter. We felt like coming and just say hi and bye.
That's lovely. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure talking to you. So if you're the one, maybe, who's going to spend more time with us while talking about the emotional layer, that would be wonderful.
Yes, we will love that. We love talking about emotions. And also, we mention, or we are going to mention, it will depend on how Emily is feeling because we noticed that there is a higher frequency match with the one aspect of us that just talked to you for a bit prior to my coming, if we may say. And this aspect is so easy to settle within Emily's body that it is also possible that this aspect come and join our conversation on emotion if ease is needed in terms of settling into Emily's body.
Of course. To be honest, speaking to any aspect of you is a joy. There's no preference, really.
Thank you very much. We are always here. It's just that we are taking turns because it's easier or harder on some of us to just integrate in a human body at the time of our conversation. But know that we are collectively involved in all of our exchange, even if some of us do not interfere directly and come and talk to you through Emily, we are indeed part of your conversation and we are sending our input and ideas and vision and knowledge and consciousness into what is being transmitted.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We thank the aspect that has been with us for most of today's session. Thank you for explaining everything in such easy to understand. All right, great. I would say that's a wrap for today, and I'm already looking forward to our next conversation.
This too. We're gonna lay down Emily's body now, if it's okay with you.
Yes. All right. We thank Rufus and all others involved for the information and support they have given us today. With much love and deep gratitude, we're asking all energies and entities to recede to where they belong.